All right, I'm on page 142 and I'm working on the front suspension, and I am like super impressed with the way this kit is going together, and the instructions are just like phenomenal on this. Um I just want to make a note. I don't know if you can see it. Let me find something to point. I hadn't noticed this before when I put the other side together, but everything is marked. You can kind of see it. There's an R for right hand side. Everything is marked with numbers that are into the metal. I hadn't really noticed it before. Let me see if I can find. It's hard to do this with my left hand, but there's an R on this wishbone here. If I can point to it right there, you can kind of see it. There's an R. Everything is marked like clearly. It's really, really nice. Like if you get things mixed up, I think it would be very, very, very difficult to get these pieces mixed up, but I guess it's just like majorly dummy proofed is what I'm thinking. I guess I didn't show where I was at earlier. This is the horn here. I just did a black wash on it for now. Is the wiper arm control unit. That's what that says here. I don't know, but the horn doesn't have much detail. Neither one of them really have much detail, but it's not too bad. They're going to be kind of hidden up underneath at the cowl area there anyway, so you probably won't really see anything. Let me flip this over. I can show you as that comes apart because I didn't secure it yet. We have the fire extinguisher pull, which finding different colors for those. I think more modern they would be red, but it looks almost like it's a black Bakelite handle perhaps on some photos, and other ones looks like raw aluminum. So I just sanded off the chrome finish they had, left the kind of like the chrome finish there at the bezel, and just did like a black wash for now. And I added a few paint chips and wear around the steering column there, but that's kind of simplified. I wish there was a little bit more detail around the adjustment points for the steering wheel, where the driver could adjust it up or down. I don't think it's something very easy to do because it looks like you would have had to have some wrenches in there. Like I painted those two nuts there, but you would have had to adjust it. I think you couldn't do it on the fly, I don't believe. But this is really, really, really impressive so far, like the way everything's going together. Let me show you where I got with the front pedals. So I got the pedals in, and the brake cable or the clutch cable routed through the floorboard. I ended up using just Tamiya primer, which I love. The Tamiya white and gray primers are just awesome. I always use those on my Hot Wheels customs, and you can use it on plastic and metal. It's difficult for me to find it locally, so I always just have to get it off eBay. But anyway, the other thing that's really trick with this kit is this goes to the brake pedal. So it's actually a functioning brake pedal. I don't know if you can hear it. When you hit that, it hits a micro switch underneath, and then that'll make the brake lights come on the car. It is really cool. So I'm hoping that all works in the end, because you'd have to do some tearing apart to get in there to replace that micro switch. That's the other reason I'm worried about super gluing a lot of things together, because what is nice with the screws that they provide, even though some might be kind of uglier, as the one gentleman posted a comment and said it was a sin of what I was using the screws provided. The problem is, if you don't use the screws, or if I would glue a lot of this together, the sound control, the speaker unit, all that, when I was looking here, would be very difficult to get in maintenance if you had to, get in and fix something with this car. Not that you'd be playing with it a whole lot, but the amount of money you're spending on this kit, it's kind of nice to be able to get in there and take things apart if you have to. And same with the shock absorbers. I'm still researching different colors for them, so I can still take things apart and paint them how I want to paint them. You can kind of see it going up and down there, but the whole thing is pretty cool. I do wish there was someone locally that had the Pocker that that I could see to compare. I am very curious about the differences, just out of you know just out of curiosity. I guess I should say. I don't know. I'm lost of words sometimes, but it's really really cool, and it's going together fairly nicely. And that's where I'm at with that. And I will get back to work on the front suspension, and I'll be back. All right, so I have the front section. I don't know what you would call that, where the steering column and whatnot is attached. I have that now mounted to the frame, and I lightly weathered that light gray base so it looks used. So it's starting to come together. At least I feel like it's coming together. The shock absorbers I have in my paint booth, and they're still curing, which I can show those in a second. But so I'll put my link for the colors on the screen for the Bilstein shocks. That was also off of Gun Auto Racing's webpage, is where I found some original shocks. There's also a picture I grabbed off of eBay for one shock absorber. Now, for whatever reason, they're yellow with there's a section that's black, so I just taped off what was pre-painted to satin black, and then just primed it in white Tamiya, and then doing yellow. I am very curious about the sound panel, what that's going to be like. Because when I had pre-ordered this kit, I knew it had lights, and I thought that was really cool. I didn't know it had a working brake pedal. I knew it had lights, but I did not know it had active sound or whatever. I think that's wild. I found in the box the tiny speaker, so I'm really anxious to know what that's like, and I don't want to spoil it by looking online, because I'm sure there's somebody has the sounds or whatever probably already posted somewhere. But I didn't know anything about that, so I guess that's kind of like a little bonus, I guess you want to say. But I'm thinking the lights, that alone was also why I essentially paid about $100 more than the Poker I should say. But I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. I mean, you could probably wire one up yourself easily with the lights. And I have the tiny little amber, really tiny. This is one of the smallest you can get. Little light bulbs are coming from Amazon. I don't know why they're taking so long, but I'm going to use those for the turn signals in the front. And we'll see how that goes. Maybe I can hopefully wire them in, because they have the resistors already soldered on. I guess I have to technically, I'll have to attach the clutch and brake hoses there then. It's getting there, pretty cool. Like I said, I'm not too worried about trying to cover up every screw head, because I mean, I just don't think it's going to be worth it to do that. And I do like I already had to take apart this front because I was like, oh, I completely forgot I wanted to lightly weather that floorboard. So I had to take this. It was only 2 large screws that are kind of hidden, but I had to take that back apart. And now the bottom of the wishbones or whatever, they'll get screwed together then once I add the coil springs in with the shock absorbers. So here we can see the shock absorber halves, because from my reference photos it looks like only one half is in the Bilstein yellow. So that's that. And just, I don't know why it's taking a while here to cure. So I even have like a light bulb that's mounted in here, kind of pushed towards it, to hoping that it cures faster. I don't know if you can see it, but I did tape off. I do like to use Tamiya masking tape because it's good stuff. I taped off, it's on them there, top kind of section. It's going to be hard to see that, and then I use that to pinch the alligator clips too. So it's got to take that off before it cures too much here. I'm going to have to strip the tape off. All right, I think I'm finished detailing up the shock absorbers. I just looked off of Google different reference photos and kind of went from there. So the black was already there. They had painted them satin black all over from the kit. So I just had to tape that off and prime them and do a sunburst yellow, I think was the color name, which was just Rust-Oleum. So turned out pretty decent. So it's got to put them on. I did the backs. The ones on the right-hand side are go to the back of the car. They went ahead and dug through the kit till I found those because I wanted to paint them all at the same time. So I'll put the front end together here and hopefully be able to show that off. They did have me do one other rotor. I'm not sure why, just like one at a time, which is kind of weird, but so I think hopefully I'll get to the other side here, but turned out pretty decent. All right, I'll put the one side together and hopefully I can get that done and be able to show it off. Here's where I'm currently at with the front end. I'm at page 144 in the massive book, which is, you can see how thick it is. So I'm almost, not quite halfway yet, but it's getting there. I had struggles with this. I could probably take this rubber band off. This is to hold the one brace together in the front. So where I'm at with this, after I just removed the rubber band, the brake and clutch reservoirs fell off already because I just kind of had that pressure fit on prior. I had a real tough time getting the suspension all together. It does work, the suspension. The steering is extremely tight. I'm not even going to try to attempt to show you. It's a really tight. You can see here, I don't know if you can see it, I added a tiny little black zip tie to pull that up. Let me see if I can find something to point so you can see what I'm talking about right there. It's really tiny. I had plenty of white miniature zip ties, but I wanted a black one. It took me a while digging through to find a black one in my stash. What I didn't really care for was it drooped, and I thought for sure I had this steering bar. I thought I had it backwards, and it was kind of like, you follow like here on step 1 of page 144, and I looked and I'm like, well, this, I'm pretty sure I have it correct. Like, and you follow along, they call it steering bar, and I'm like, something's not right. It was literally almost on top of the clutch and brake pedal up under there, and I looked on real reference photos, and I guess they were pretty darn close, but this drooped. It drooped down, so there was like almost a 1/4-inch gap. If I can get this to sit straight there, so you can kind of still see like right in here. Anyway, this part that is molded into the bar drooped down, so that it's nice adding the zip tie. Kind of pulled it up somewhat. You could probably run a piece of twisty tie wire or something too, and I don't think anyone's ever going to see it. I just didn't care for that. It was kind of sloppy, but the steering is extremely tight now, and I don't think that's my fault. It's just the way. I don't know if I like the way they did the steering on it. Could have been a little bit better. Like this down in here is sloppy where it fits in. There's like an L bracket or almost like a S-shaped bracket, I guess you want to say, not L bracket, but you know what I mean. It's not bad. I do like how everything fits together. It's pretty cool, but I made a few mistakes. I had to go back. This is another reason why I'm being very careful and liberal using any kind of super glue. I didn't realize one of the brake rotors I had, the direction of the discs incorrect. They tell you, which way they should be going pattern wise. So I had to take my X-Acto blade and get in there and take the photo etch panels back off. I'm calling them panels because that's basically what they are, to represent the drilled rotors are just panels essentially. But I had to pull them off, and thankfully the double face tape that they give you was pretty high quality, but I was able to split it apart, flip them around, and I luckily had the left side correct. So that's good. The spending last night on the shock absorbers, I think was worth the time and effort to tape them off and paint them, and I'm pretty happy with that. Added a real miniature nut at the bottom there, and like I said, the left side I had the brake rotors fine. The direction of the pattern is correct on there. I still say this car technically would have had solid discs, would not have had the drilled rotors, but the drilled rotors are going to look pretty freaking cool once done. But in 70, I'm finding on a lot of photos that I'm looking at on Getty Images, which I put the link down below. There's some really awesome photos, and I have yet to find one of these cars that had drilled rotors. 71, yes, you do see them, but not in 70. And the other thing is, if they're Girling brakes, they could have swapped and put the Girling reservoirs, but most of the cars, when I'm seeing in the photos, they just kept the ATE balls, I guess, to save money, and it really wouldn't made any sense to have to swap them reservoirs out anyway. So here we have this long hose they give you represents the clutch cable, this one. And then the other miniature one here is the micro switch for the brake pedal. When you push the brake pedal, the lights come on, the tail lights it's going to be pretty impressive, I think. There's a lot of hidden little Easter eggs, I think, without this, throughout this car. So it should be cool. So over here we have the rear shocks, and I started on the fuse panel, filled the two huge holes they had there at the bottom, and I'm going to work on detailing that up and repainting it and whatnot. It doesn't look that bad. We have the cylinder up in the left corner represents the flashers, and you have the other two square relays were for headlights, which I think later on they added additional two more. So you could technically, some of the pictures you'll see four of them square metal relays, and then we have two fuse. The black boxes are for the ceramic type of fuses that would have been there. All right, I'd started working on the front brake calipers and reading through this Gordon Wingrove book, kind of learning more than probably what's necessary about these cars, but I never knew that they actually started out. They originally did have ATE brake calipers on the early cars, and then they switched to the Girlings, which the John Wire team requested originally to swap the Girlings, and I guess Porsche didn't want them to, but the Salzburg cars, they swapped from the ATE to Girlings. Anyway, took a little bit. John Wire was annoyed, I guess, but anyway, they eventually got the approval to go to the Girling brake calipers, which you see here. They were 4-piston, I think 38 millimeter wide pistons, something like that. Anyway, the brake caliper you see on the left here is stock out of the kit, and I snipped off the little nipple things that were sticking out on the other one, started cleaning up mold lines, and there's another, you can see the other nipples on the back. I'll probably cut those all off to match the other side. So I started working on that. So basically, if you want to duplicate what I'm doing, all it is grab styrene from a bread clip, 1 millimeter piece of copper wire, which this actually came from an old wash machine motor, I believe. So I have plenty of that, and it's real soft and pliable, which is nice, and a little bit of foil tape. And that's all I have. And that should be enough. Drilled some holes in the sides to run the wire through, and I love how soft the wire is, so it's kind of easy to bend around. But I did use a stick of a paintbrush stick to help get some nice curvatures there. So that's where we're at with that, and it should look pretty awesome when I'm done, and they will be like a flat aluminum color when I'm done, not this chrome effect, which is actually not bad. If you just did a black wash on them, I think they would be not too bad. If you want to just do, right out of the box, stock is fine. And they're not bad. They were in two pieces. You put them together, and so not too bad. But I have to say, just spending a few minutes on and fixing one up is going to look really cool, I think, when it's done. All right, so I'm wrapping up the two front brake calipers, and I had to redo the tubing because I had it kind of backwards. So as you see it here is how they would have been mounted on the actual car. And I found a good reference picture here of the routing. So it comes from the front bottom and goes up around and into the back top. So that I had to do some changing around a little bit there, but not that big of a deal. And then I had to make the fitting there for where you would bleed the brakes. So added that in on the end there. So now it's off to paint. So that's where we're at with those, but it didn't take that long. Probably under an hour, but I even, like I said, had to redo them there, but that wire is really soft, and that was nice to be able to work with. And then I kind of, when I'd drill the one hole at the bottom, I'd bend it and then go up along the side, and that worked in my favor to guide it along. The foil tape kept coming off, so I ended up using a part of a Hot Wheels pack for the clamp. So it was like the one part where it's kind of got this nice L shape here. I cut off tiny pieces of that, and once it dries, you can't really see it there, but I'm sure it'll show up once I get some paint on it for the little bracket, I guess you want to say, for that piping, for the tubing there. And I'm moving to the left here because I'm going to put a reference photo for you up on the screen, and that's that. So we'll move on the paint. I hope to wrap those up, and the back brakes are very similar, so hopefully they'll go a little faster and I won't have things swapped around. These are marked on the bottoms. They have like an L and an R on them, so that kind of did help me when I was trying to visualize here, so I didn't get them mixed up or anything. That was kind of nice. All right, so I'm wrapping up these brake calipers, at least for now. I think I'm going to have to run wire eventually or something to represent the brake lines. The hoses, I suspect, that come with this kit are probably going to be glossy black, kind of cheesy, so I'll have to figure something out. So I did order 1.5 and 3 millimeter bendable aluminum wire off of Amazon. So we'll see what I can use with that. But anyway, that's where we're at with them. The two towards the bottom are for the back of the car, and the two at the top are for the front of the car. And I'm pretty happy with them for an amateur job. Like I said, I have not really done any models in quite a while, so I think they're okay for for what it is. And I think just using the 1 millimeter soft copper wire really added some nice attention to detail for the brake calipers. So pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with them, and you won't even see them anyway once they're on the car. I wouldn't mind having it somehow, maybe that you could take the wheels off to be able to show some of the details or something. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do this, because eventually I wouldn't mind making a coffee table to sit the car down in, but that's a whole nother video. So anyway, that's the brake calipers. I'll go ahead and mount the fronts onto the chassis. All right, I think I'm finally finished with part 8 of the diary, and been working on the front end, and this is where I'm at. Not sure if you guys saw this or not. I did post a separate video of me flocking the seats, and they turned out really nice. So I highly recommend that if you want some realism to your model. Gives a nice mouse hair fabric look there. Turned out awesome. So glad I spent the extra few minutes doing that. And I laid the dashboard on here just to kind of see how everything will look. And we can get that out of the way, and I'll show you where I'm at with this. So we got the front brake calipers mounted up and the cooling plastic ductwork here, which I'm not sure. I'm still trying to track down photos. And it does look like they used black plastic for them. I did find a couple pictures, but not really great photos. So I might just leave them as is with the black plastic as it came with the kit. Not sure if I had mentioned earlier or not, but while doing more research on the brakes, apparently these calipers are Girling, which if you're not familiar, Girling was a British company. And as I had mentioned, the bottles there, the black bottles are Girling, which was very unusual. But anyway, most of the cars later on went to the Girling brakes, but they kept the ATE bottles in the front there. So I'm just going to leave it as is. I don't think it looks too bad. Got the shocks all mounted. I'm kind of anxious to get working on the back side. Hopefully that's coming up. I'm not actually sure though what's coming up next. I didn't really peek in the book. I'm at page 147 is where I'm at right now. So next up will be actually page 149. So you can see here, I guess this says issue 31. That's because people who had the subscription service, I guess, this is how they would send the parts. Over here in North America, we don't have anything like that. As far as I can tell, you just have to buy the whole kit. There is no subscription service. It's just you buy the whole thing all together. So that'll be up next, and I know this took a little bit to get done. It's a lot of editing I had to do to make this part 8, so I apologize. It took me a few extra days. Looks like we're going to be doing the soundboard stuff next here. It says printed circuit board. This thing is pretty wild, though. I don't know if they're going to show it here. They have like where they show the speaker hidden inside. Anyway, we'll get to that then. A little sneak peek there. Let's get back to page 149. So next up we'll be doing some more bars and then the fuse panel. All right, so that's it for part 8. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'm sorry it took me a little while here. It's a lot of editing I had to do, and got some of the clips mixed up, and I had to fix that up and lace everything together. So it's a lot of stitching of all the clips. So it's probably going to be a long one. I'm not sure yet how long, but we'll find out here shortly. And this is the last clip, and I'm very appreciative of everybody leaving comments and thumbs up for the videos. It lets me know that people are at least watching the videos, and it seems like they're getting a lot of views. That's pretty cool. All right, so on to the next sections. Now, if you're not a subscriber, I really do appreciate if you guys hit the subscribe button. It should be down on the right-hand side, and hit the bell for notifications. And it's entirely free, and you can't beat free. So I will see you guys later. You guys have a good night. Talk to you soon. All right, bye now.